3 weeks after the horrific shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, the school is slowly picking up the pieces. Classes have resumed, benefit concerts have been planned, and survivors have become activists. All the while, the 30-plus members of the Stoneman Douglas Yearbook, the ARI, have been hard at work. By the beginning of February, they had filled over 400 pages and were on track to meet their March 9th deadline. But after the shooting on February 14th, they've had to change course completely, as they grapple with the challenge of covering an unthinkable tragedy in their book's pages. The day after the shooting happened, as the editor-in-chief, my only question was, holy cow, how in the world are we going to cover this? Kira Pero, an 18-year-old senior, told MTV News. Courtesy Rain Valadares Pero left, and Rain Valladares Pero has been on the ARI staff since her freshman year, and has worked her way up from a photographer to her current positions, co-photo editor and co-editor-in-chief. Together with the Yearbook's other photo editor, 16-year-old junior Rain Valladares, she uses her camera to capture what it's like being a student at Stoneman Douglas. That was a fairly straightforward job a month ago, but now, it couldn't be more complicated, or more important. On the day of the shooting, Valladares was taking photos for the Yearbook during lunchtime. It was Valentine's Day, and she wanted to capture the festive mood on campus. She took a couple pics of senior Emma Gonzalez, who, in the following days, would go on to become one of the country's most visible gun violence prevention activists, handing out love proclamations at a table outside. Then, she photographed her friend Tori Gonzalez, who was gleefully smiling while holding a pink bag with a candy rose in it, a Valentine's gift for her boyfriend, Joaquin Oliver. That afternoon, Oliver was one of the 17 victims who was shot and killed inside the school. Courtesy Rain Valladares took this photo of Tori Gonzalez just hours before the shooting on February 14th. When the shooting started a couple hours later, Valladares' environmental studies teacher led her and the rest of the class to a concealed area of the culinary room downstairs. There, a cluster of about 50 people, including 3 teachers, hid until a SWAT team found them and escorted them to safety. Valladares was forced to leave her backpack, which had her camera inside of it, on the culinary room floor, and wasn't able to go back to the school and retrieve it until 12 days later. It was then that she saw the photos she had taken of Tori and the rest of her classmates on that Valentine's Day afternoon. It hurt so bad to see those pictures again. Valladares said, "It's just crazy how, now, our lives are divided into a before and an after. These photos are the before." Valladares didn't see Tori again until almost 2 weeks after the shooting. When the two finally reunited at school, they hugged and cried, and Tori thanked Valladares for capturing her happiest morning. She said that when she saw those photos, reality finally set in for her, that things are never going to be the same. Valladares recalled, "She needs those photos. She deserves to know how she was before and think of that day and remember what it started out to be, and how much she loved Oliver, and how much he loved her." The day after the shooting, co-editors Pero and Valladares went to Pine Trails Park for a candlelight vigil. It was there that they experienced what it was like capturing the aftermath of a tragedy, and witnessed firsthand the challenges of photographing people in a time of mourning and grief. "One of my friends was shot and she happened to be there," Pero said. "I hugged her and I was crying with her, and the media people were in my face with their cameras. I was like, this can't be happening. If I was around someone who was crying, my camera was on my shoulder, not in the position to take a picture. Because for me, I'm in their shoes as well. I'm grieving with my friends, and I knew I wouldn't want that to be happening to me." Courtesy Kira Pero photographs a close-up of a candle at the Pine Trails Park vigil on February 15th. Though Valladares' camera was locked up at school the day of the vigil, she also noticed the same tension between photographers and mourners. "Everyone was a complete mess, including me," she said. "There were photographers in people's faces, and one lady started cursing this one photographer out. It made me question, because I want to do photojournalism, how would I approach this?" That's a dilemma both Pero and Valladares are grappling with now, as they face a monumental task capturing their friends and peers on camera in the aftermath of a tragedy, and putting that into a yearbook that they'll have for the rest of their lives. "It's definitely super hard," Valladares said. "Death is the most sensitive subject that anyone can ever talk about. It's still a process figuring out how we're going to be able to do this in the best way possible." The year is formatted in chronological order, covering every little thing that happens at Stoneman Douglas, from a baseball team that won a national championship a few years ago to the school's band winning its dates this year to science fairs and plays, from August until March. Pero says that blueprint will still apply to the 2017-18 book because this life-altering tragedy isn't the only thing that defines their year. We don't want the entire yearbook to be about the shooting, because we want to show what else happened during the school year, Pero said. But we do want to give justice to our fallen classmates and our fallen coaches and teacher. The staff plans to devote an entire page to each of the 17 victims, and they'll also cover the school-wide trends they've seen in the aftermath of the shooting, like students getting tattoos and friends of Oliver's dyeing their hair blonde in his honor. Our biggest concern as a yearbook staff is how we do justice to the victims, Pero explained.